majority of black women cannot compete with the passport bros.
Should a woman even be competing with a man? Welcome to Goddess Inner Circle. My name is Tasha, Women's Empowerment Specialist, where we do women's empowerment. Over here, hit the plus sign, double tap the video. Let's go ahead and unpack this. We're not supposed to be competing against men. There's no reason to compete really against anybody. God provides abundance of opportunities for everybody. The beautiful thing about the Most High is the creation of this entire planet that belongs to everybody, to be global citizens and travel the world without having to compete to do it. I see so many women who've been traveling overseas and really doing some awesome things for the people in the countries like Africa, Latin America, and Asia. Black women are really trailing the blaze overseas, and it's not from a place of competition. Like I mentioned in another video, there's a man who has a YouTube video. He went to Colombia, married a Colombian woman, and opened up a soul food restaurant. And so the point of traveling and becoming a global citizen is to do the work of the Most High, to help solve problems and to help build connections with humans around the world. The purpose of a passport, guys, is not to compete against each other. I've been to so many countries, and I'm currently living in a different country than the United States. And I wish this experience on men and women. It's a beautiful opportunity to get on a plane and see different sights, and we don't need to compete to do this. It's very toxic to be male-centered. When your universe and your whole identity is attached to patriarchal paradigm, you become very toxic for the world. And no man or woman should be using the voice and influence that they have to help change the lives of other people with misogynistic and misandrous messages. We have a vast world that we should all explore together and love and enjoy together without competing against one another. We don't need any more division. The pick-meism has to stop. The dusty behavior has to stop. Everybody should be able to get a passport and go and travel. Black women, white women, Asian women, no woman should compete because feminine energy attracts. And we should not be competing against the opposite sex for anything. So let's kind of squash all this division.
Yo, what's up, guys? Back again with another video for the Passport Bros. First and foremost, please hit that like, comment, subscribe button. It helps the channel a lot, and I appreciate it very dearly. Now, this video today is a quite interesting video. This woman, she has a few good points, but then, other points I'm not really, completely clear on. But, she had a few points here and there that, made a little sense. Basically saying that, she wants to get men and women out of the mindset of having to compete for everything. Which within itself, I can understand the perspective of someone that would say, okay, competing, let's go beyond this. Like, let's move past the fierceness of competition, and let's just go and expand our boundaries and expand our options across the world, so we can have abundance of opportunity that we can all benefit from. See, from that perspective, it makes a lot of sense, and I agree with that. That makes sense. But my concern is, how realistic is that mindset? How realistic is that perspective when there's so many limited resources? Because given the reality of a lot of the situations in which we're faced with, a lot of times there are limited resources. And there's a lot of people that want specific resources that might not have access and or the opportunity to get those resources, because it's basically demand and supply and demand. There is a high demand for XYZ resources, whatever those resources may be, but there is a rather low supply. Quick break, guys. I just wanted to introduce to you the free money making guide to become a passport bro and sustain your lifestyle overseas. How to make money as a passport bro working remotely. Get your guide now. Join the community. The link is in the description below and in the comment section as well. Let's get this money, guys. Let's say, for instance, high value men. High value men are that of like a very special uniqueness, because there aren't many high value men. There are men, but there's not many that are very high value. And there's a lot of women that want high value men. There's more women in the world that want high value men than there are high value men to go around. So there's a high demand for high value men, yet the supply is rather low. It's rather, low quantity. So with just understanding those facts within itself, how can you not compete for these men if there are only so many to go around? And at some point, we're going to get to the point where there aren't any more high value men. There are a lot of women who want these high value men, but there's not many high value men to go around. So like at some point down the line, we're going to get to the point where somebody's going to have to compete for these type of men. Somebody's going to have to compete for their resources, their attention, their money, their time, their love. And a lot of these high value men have options. And whoever is the best woman that they see that's fit for their, resources, that's deserving of their value, is going to be the one who ultimately gets it at the end of the day. And women understand to a certain degree that in order to get these kind of men, you have to put your best foot forward. That's not to say, okay, you're competing, which, is within itself a form of competition. Putting your best foot forward and showing your best self and, improving yourself or showing your good qualities and valuable qualities in order to present to that man that you are worthy of him dealing with you. That within itself is what's going to set you apart from all these other women that he has available to him. So isn't that within itself competition? Is it not? And if it's not, how so? Because it seems to me like that's competition. But in this video, this woman is saying, let's not compete. Let's not this. It's like, I hear what she's saying. And from that perspective, I can agree with it to a certain extent, but that doesn't really work in reality. It sounds good on paper. It sounds good when you speak on it. But in reality, there aren't that many resources available. At some point, we're going to have to compete. And honestly, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with competing, because we've always done this since the beginning of time. Men have always competed for resources. Women have always competed for men. Women have always competed for all these different things. Why are we saying that, okay, competition is bad now, or let's get past this competition, which, I can agree with that to a certain degree, but how would we be able to do that and still be able to get what we want? Because you could say, okay, let's not compete, let's move that. It's like, okay, I agree, but how is that going to realistically be possible? Because at some point we have to deal with the reality of the fact that we have to compete. Men have to compete. Women have to compete. Even children have to compete. When there's something that you want, that you understand there's only so many of it to go around, and there's so many other people that want the same exact thing, that within itself is going to bring out the natural instinct of competition within you. But in the long run, it's only going to bring the best out of you. See, one thing about competition that is very valuable is it brings the best out of you. It pushes you to go past your boundaries. It pushes you to do things that you might not have thought you could do before, but you realize, okay, I can bring this forth, I can reach these levels, I can go past these levels. It causes you to push your limits. But I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I would think that's a good thing in certain situations. So I don't understand the notion completely of, oh, let's not compete. Because competition to a certain degree is good. We're supposed to compete. That's how we learn. That's how we evolve. That's how we see the differences between ourselves and everybody else, in order to know, okay, what do we need to improve on? What can we do? How can we change? How can we learn? I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just self-assessment, but that competition within itself helps you gather that data, and it helps you be aware. It brings you awareness of your current state of where you are and the current standing of which you're at. So honestly, competition is reality. It is. We all have to do it in our everyday lives. So guys, continue to compete, continue to get your passports, continue to book your flights. They will shame, they will blame, but they cannot contain, because the passports will reign. If it ain't foreign, it's boring. If it ain't foreign, I'm ignoring. Passport rules. We up. Please like, comment, subscribe.